Howdy, pals. Tell me, have you ever swam in the ocean and had that fear that something might be lurking underneath you where you can't see? Has that feeling ever carried over to when you're in a pool, even though you logically know there can't be anything in the pool with you, but you still think, oh no, there's a shark in here? Have you ever wondered what that scenario would look like as a horror movie? No? No, you haven't? Well, too bad, cause here's Night Swim! The latest Blumhouse Horror arrival by way of Universal, looking to remake some of that January Mathregan magic, but tragically failed. Well, I say failed, but the Blumhouse model is literally just making movies as cheap as possible, so they always end up turning a profit, and this one did, even though I haven't heard a single positive thing about it. But it's certainly not the runaway success of Megan that had about a $12 million budget and made $181 million worldwide versus Night Swim's $15 million budget pulling in $37 million-ish. Still absurd that it doubled up. And I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer on it, this is just genuinely a really bad movie for multiple reasons, and the most egregious being that it's boring as hell. And when I say boring, I'm not trying to say that it wasn't violent enough, that there wasn't enough action. I really actually do like a good, slow, meditative movie, but the key word in there is good. Literally one of my favorite movies last year is mostly about a guy cleaning toilets in Tokyo. It's beautiful. But if you're gonna make a movie that feels like it's a satirical movie prompt from an episode of 30 Rock that came out in 2004, do it properly. But for a little spoiler-free rundown, Night Swim focuses on the Waller family looking for a new home after Ray Waller started suffering the effects of MS, making him unable to continue his baseball career. But when they stumble upon the perfect home, which honestly seems pretty dated and ugly, they start thinking that it might be nice to settle down, especially since it has a pool, which is just great for his MS. Then it just kind of goes how you're probably expecting, but somehow less interesting. Weird things start happening with the pool, some bad things happen, some actually not that scary, spooky things start happening, but it's almost entirely off screen, and the movie doesn't really manage to build any level of suspense outside maybe the opening scene. And I just think that a movie like this has to be as ridiculous and dumb as its premise. But for some reason, they tried for plot, and that sucks, especially with the direction that they take the plot in, which I will get to as we go. But basically, in the end, I'm saying that this movie would probably be better if they had somehow found a way to make the pool dance to distract its future victims. And even though it's trying for that deeper level of plot to explain why the pool is doing weird things, it's also not remotely interested in being elevated horror, as some people, as the kids say. So it's not even trying to go for vibes over the scares, but it also just doesn't seem to be that interested with being scary either. It's just so tame and boring, and I get it, you're never gonna be the scariest and most disturbing piece of media involving a pool while that Chuck Palahniuk short story exists, but you can still try. I really thought we were gonna get some drain-sucking action, but no! Also, please don't look up that short story for your own sake. Now, what you may not know about this movie is that it was actually adapted from a short film, and I suppose it is better in the short film format, but it is under 3 minutes long, and somehow they decided to stretch that into a feature-length film. And it took them 10 years to decide to do it. It was every year they were nope, not quite time for Night Swim yet. We need to wait to the year after one of the best low-budget horror movies ever came out. I will say that the short story is at least mildly effective. It sets up that tone better, really amps up what might be outside the pool so you get distracted what might be inside the pool with you. But nothing about it really screamed, you know what would make this experience better? An extra hour and 35 minutes. In the end, I just have no idea what this movie wanted to be. I know people can throw around the PG-13 excuse, and it's good to have some PG-13 level horror, but that doesn't mean that it has to be bad. Lights Out was a pretty effective horror. Insidious, Sinister was 14A in Canada. It can be done. There's no reason for a movie to be this lame. And no, it's not a shark that materializes in the water to brutally kill people, sadly. But speaking of sharks, that reminds me of today's sponsor, Surfshark, the kind of shark that you can count on to make your life better. So I'm currently at the Sundance Film Festival. Yes, I took time out of my prestigious film festival schedule to watch Night Swim. You're welcome. And if you remember last year's Sundance, I almost missed out on some key Last of Us episodes because my Canadian streaming service wasn't available while I was in the United States. Because despite the snow, this is not Canada. And this year we are landing right in the middle of a brand new season of True Detective, which I really don't want to miss out on, and thanks to Surfshark, this issue was solved in an instant. With Surfshark, all I'm gonna have to do is connect to a Canadian server location and I'll be able to watch True Detective on any of my devices no matter where I am. But say you find yourself wanting to watch a horror movie that's actually good, like one of my favorites of last year, Talk to Me, but oh no, they're not available on US Netflix. Once again, the Canadian servers are here to hook you up. Surfshark is fast, secure, blocks unwanted ads, offer a 30 30-day back money guarantee, and if you use code JEDI, you can get up to 6 additional months completely free. So make sure to click the link in the description down below to try out Surfshark for yourself. So getting into the spoilers of Night Swim, if you can really call them that, it kind of feels like an extra slap in the face because I've watched some fantastic horror and horror-adjacent movies this past week with I Saw the TV Glow, Presence, Love Lies Bleeding, and It's What's Inside, because those are all at least trying something, and this movie isn't trying anything. But we start off in the summer of 1992, and I will say that it does at least establish some tension here. We got a little girl with a sick brother wandering out to the pool to get his toy before something yanks her in. And I had the subtitles on, otherwise I might not have caught that there's a word whispering Temagami or Temagami, which apparently means deep body of water by the shore, but I also know that that is a region in Canada established by First Nations communities, so great, I guess we're gonna blame them for the pool massacres. This movie isn't even Canadian, I think they're in Minnesota, and no, it's not the same thing. Also, massacre is a strong word. I think the pool just kind of like consumes her. She's just gone. It's very chill. I was kind of expecting some kind of like explosion of blood, a little bit more of a struggle, but it's just nothing. Just her slipper popping out of the water as she vanishes. Very lame. Before we cut to present day with the Waller family finding what might just be their perfect forever home. And I must acknowledge that the wife is played by Kerry Condon, freshly off of her Oscar run for The Banshees of Inisherin, and this is what she follows it up with? Look, good for you, getting a more leading role and more mainstream-ish coverage, but girl, value yourself! And I think right from the get-go, I don't really like this setup or premise. I feel like if you were gonna steer into this movie being more absurd, which they should have been, and this concept being more absurd, I think this should have been some kind of Airbnb rental, and this is a group of college students. I think that would have made way for way more shenanigans than a nuclear family. Could have been funner, sexier, a little bit more brutal. There's just a lot more fun to be had. But no, we have a PG-13 family movie, so things can only get so bad. But it's time for our typical horror bait and switch scare, because obviously if it's gonna be following that horror rubric, it's gonna be doing it in the least interesting way possible. So Wyatt Russell falls into the pool trying to grab something and almost drowns. Though while he's almost drowning, it starts to show him the future, or at least the future he wants, making a triumphant return to baseball. Made all the more clear by it being an old baseball he was reaching for. We have context clues. I also feel like him falling in the pool first is fairly significant, but I guess we'll find out. But you know what? No, futuristic visions, why can't the killer pool just be a killer pool? Why are we trying to do more? You've now ended up in a very dangerous position where you can't just make a completely ridiculous movie, there's lore to account for. Either way, they're settling in, getting the pool ready, which leads to pretty much the only time you get blood in the movie. Him cutting his hand on something in the pool drain, and like, why did you just free ball your hand down there, man? The fuck is wrong with you? This is the pool equivalent of putting your hand in a garburator. But a bunch of gunky water comes up and they find out that the pool actually feeds in from a natural spring, which is great for the skin apparently, has all sorts of healing properties. And you know, I'm guessing some malicious spirits from the deep. Or from the Temagami. And if they were gonna go deep lore, I might give them the pass because I do kind of find myself getting enthralled in deep lore a lot of the times with these movies. You saw it with Five Nights at Freddy's, but no, it's not gonna do that, so there's simply no need. Who am I kidding? There was no need for any of this.
Hey, what's the matter? Huh?
Oh no, she's doing it! She's night swimming! And the cat is unhappy. I swear to God, if anything happens to that cat, I am coming for the creators of this movie. I am coming for you! But this scene is actually the closest to recreating the short story that we get, but it is nowhere near as sinister. She's swimming and sees a ghoulish version of her husband above water, but when she pops out, he's gone. Then the pool lights flicker a bunch and she gets freaked out and leaves. Versus the short film where a very ghoulish version of herself slowly walks towards her in the dark, which, you know, actually spooky. Though I will say I noticed that it seems like the ghoulish dad is stumbling by in the background, but I'm not sure how noticeable that is or was in theaters, though it certainly creeped me out. I'll give it that. No, not the cat, not Cider. Oh no, he got consumed. Who made this movie? I guess that's one benefit to this movie, not showing anything particularly bad happening anytime. I don't have to see anything happen to the cat. But hey, we're seeing the healing properties of that pool in action. Russell Jr.'s hand is completely healed. Spooky. And it's not just the hand. His inner tissues are actually improving at an accelerated rate. The pool giveth and the pool taketh away. And in this scenario, the pool taketh the family pet and giveth tissue regrowth. Though it also seems to be taking the son, throwing coins deeper and deeper into the pool until he potentially drowns? But no, they wuss out.
Who are you?
My name is Rebecca Summers.
Absolutely Absolutely the fuck not, Rebecca! This little girl from the beginning, they were the Summers family. That kid's spirit is just stuck in there? Now, see, that's brutal. Look, I get it. The pool ate you and that sucks, but leave little Timmy alone! Wait, what's the kid's name? It's Elliot, and I guess they call him Ellie. That's close enough to Timmy. But he's a bit of an odd kid out, doesn't really have many friends, not naturally good at sports like his dad and sister, but hopefully his all-star dad can help this out at baseball practice. Damn, Mr. Waller, that is basically what I've been arguing would happen anytime they play vampire baseball in Twilight. People keep telling me that's not the way physics would work, but they're impossibly fast and strong. I can make Twilight fit in with anything. Either way, it's time for the girl to be haunted by the pool with a classic game of Marco Polo with the boy she likes. Ooh, bloated jump scare, not very effective, do better. Oh, but I think we got a little bit of a pervy ghost here. I think he's into teens. How about her reaction lets the brother know that he's not alone in his pool hauntings. Though for some reason the dude bro didn't notice anything. I know we keep saying it, but this movie just isn't scary. It's not tense. It's not thrilling. It's not even stupid fun. It is doing nothing effectively as a horror movie or, dare I say, movie in general. They've literally taken a fear that most people have, as unreasonable as it is in certain settings, and they just made it completely non-threatening. But to be fair, I'm not entirely sure what they could have done to make this concept actually work for a feature-length film, so I guess we'll just move on. Either way, the brother knows he's not alone now, but the sister isn't willing to ruin the parents' new happiness just because a little pervy ghost is trying to drag her to her death.
What makes more sense? That the pool's helping us or that it's haunted?
In reality, neither? The answer would be neither.
What if it's both?
Yeah, they definitely just wanted him to be able to say both. Cause yeah, the more they get haunted, the better the dad seems to be doing. But it's time for their big neighborhood pool party, so everyone, particularly little Timmy here, can make friends even though no one seems to be concerned with where he is. At least he was smart enough to set up a camera to try to catch some potential ghost shenanigans in the pool, though no idea why he's not just using a cell phone. I was really confused by the timeline of this movie because it feels so early 2000s, but the mom absolutely has a smartphone and a MacBook Pro. But you know, it must hurt to see your dad playing pool chicken with another kid instead of trying to find you again, considering this is supposed to be a way for everyone to be making friends. Anyway, he's not the only one doing some research. The mom starts to fish for why the pool may not have been used for over 15 years, and apparently what the real estate agent didn't know at the time of the sale was that a little girl had allegedly drowned.
Was the little girl's name Rebecca?
Wait, how did you know that?
And immediately some dark shit water spirits make their way into Mr. Waller. Oh no! Then that damn boat goes by again as he's basically drowning this kid underwater. I will say it's kind of refreshing to have paranormal activity not discriminate over time of day or trying to conceal itself from people outside the family, just pure vibes. Now this was pretty easy to explain away as an MS attack where his muscles just locked up, but it's still enough for him to be ostracized.
Don't come near our family again.
So they tried to do what every family should be doing in a haunted house scenario, but in a way that actually feels like it's happening too fast for a movie that would just involve staying out of the pool. They try to leave the house. And he immediately starts having a full body attack. The pool's not gonna let him go now that it has its gunk inside him or something.
It's so cool in the deep water.
And I guess the next best thing is emptying the pool, but doesn't that mean the haunted water is now just gonna go into the regular water supply? Oh no. Are we just gonna have an entire town of pool zombies? Anyway, the mom starts doing more research and leaving the husband alone with the kids, which just doesn't seem like a good idea. But apparently people have been going missing through the entire history of the house, just mysteriously vanishing. So she tries to track down Mrs. Summers, who now lives in a massive house, all thanks to her son working as a USAID ambassador. You know, the son that seemed to be on his deathbed at the beginning of the movie. So I'm guessing that the sister's death acted as a sacrifice to heal the son, but the mom seems to be suffering some residual weirdness. She's got gunk leaking out of her eye.
There's something bad in the water, isn't there?
Did you ever use a wishing well as a child? Some water is magic.
Oh man, for a second I thought they were suggesting that the water only started like doing creepy things because they were tossing in coins to die for and made some kind of like unknown contract, but no, apparently it's just the water. She starts explaining that before the pool there was only Tamagami, a deep water that gives people their deepest desires, allegedly. As mentioned though, that is actually the name of a First Nations region in Canada, so this feels very dumb. She might as well be saying a Redstone River, there is only Wisconsin. Then it just makes a loose connection about how the people of that time must have worshipped the water and now it's a pool. It's just so stupid.
What happened to your daughter?
more humane for a child not to know. The water used me as a vessel to do what must be done.
Damn, the mom actually set up the kid to die for the son, the kid she actually cared about. That is super fucked up. Though, is it still using you? You are leaking black gunk.
Love requires sacrifice.
It's not a sacrifice if you get something back.
For real though, lady, the sacrifice would have been you dying for your kid. So I guess this time around the dad is both the recipient and the vessel for the water, and little Timmy is up on the sacrificial block. Elliot? And yeah, it seems like the pool water affected the overall supply. Good job, Waller family.
Cider?
Look, we all know that that cat is long dead and not in the pool floaty, right? Like, they're not gonna show us that cat dying now, right? I would be doing the same thing if I was him, though. Anything for the kitty. Honestly, that cat's sacrifice should have been enough to bless the entire family with what they want. In the arms of the angel. This was just a ploy to yank the kid into the pool, and thankfully the mom shows up just in time, but the most horror they can muster up here is the water in the glass toppling itself over so the daughter slips and cuts her hand. Oh no, not a little hand cut. Okay, yeah, she stabbed her hand pretty deep and that would be brutal, but not final act brutal. Okay, they do try to add some tension by the dad being all creepy possessed around the house to scare her, but he's already said that she's not the sacrifice, so it can really only get so bad for her.
Life is too hard for Elliot. It's better this way.
Like, I really didn't want this to go Amityville horror, Dad, but yeah, it's something, I guess.
Marco.
Oh no. He's goofy scary. It's like Evil Dead.
You're supposed to say Polo.
Oh no. And now somehow the pool can control electricity and the television. Sick. Sure, it checks out. Meanwhile, the filmmakers are really fighting for their lives to make the pool situation seem scary. The never-ending abyss that I know isn't actually a never-ending abyss. Obviously, they start being attacked by all the spirits who lost their lives to the pool. But then it's little Rebecca that comes in with the clutch save. Guess her condemned spirit isn't old enough to be bitter yet, or something. And she lets them know with that smiley coin that they've been swimming the wrong way. Gravity. Sick. And man, isn't that just like real life? Sometimes you just need a shift in perspective.
The water chose him. He loved the pool.
Why is it so goofy? Thankfully, all it takes is a couple bat whacks to start snapping him out of it, complete with the cheesy dialogue of, Dad, something has you. You have to fight it. It's just so lame. But now it's not gonna let little Timmy leave. It's infected his insides too. So the dad realizes the pool's gonna have to take someone. Someone has to pay. But like, if he was the one reaping the benefit and then he's the one who sacrifices himself, doesn't that null and void both of them because no one got anything out of the contract exchange? Anyway, finally some teeth, a sacrifice to save the kid, but it's not scary at all. He just disappears. I'm not saying that I wanted a gore fest. I don't actually like gore fest, but I wanted something. Though I suppose the real horror here isn't that he's dead, is that his soul is literally trapped forever. Like, they really needed to play up that angle. Oh god, the pool's empty. Where did they empty it? Though I will say filling it in would have been my original idea, so good on them, but I probably would have had it completely removed, then filled it in, because this is like the Jumanji solution where eventually it'll be unearthed. Oh wait, was that the point? Was it to leave things open for a sequel? A new family moves in and thinks, oh man, I don't understand why anyone would fill over a pool. Let's clean it out. Oh no. Anyway, it just kind of ends off with them watching a home movie that he made about, like, talking about how much he loves them. Again, not sure why this wasn't on a cell phone. We've established that they have cell phones. But hey, cute. Good for them. A final farewell message. But yeah, that is Night Swim, starting off the year strong with a contender for worst horror movie of the year. We're not even through January yet. In fact, it's currently in the running for worst movie I've seen this year, and that's really impressive considering I saw a movie where Jesse Eisenberg was dressed as a Sasquatch and just shitting and pissing all over things. Cinema. But let me know what you guys are thinking down below. Thank you all so much for watching, and thanks as always to my Patreon supporters and YouTube channel members. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Leave a like on the video if you're into that kind of thing. All my other social medias are listed down below if you want to keep up with me there. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. I'm mostly okay, and we'll catch you all later.